So now that we've got those in, let's have a look at the following statements and decide what out of the options are true. So it says, based on the scorecard above, select the correct assumptions for the following. The gross profit and operating profit percentages are better for the competitor. This indicates that the competitor has a better use of working capital. So let's have a look. So are they both better? No. So we can see that the gross profit percentage is better for the competitor, but the operating profit is lower. So that is definitely not true, that first part. Second option, the return on capital employed of the competitor in comparison to JC Limited indicates that the competitor is using its working capital more effectively. So the return on capital employed is actually lower for the competitor than it is for JCD. So they definitely wouldn't be using it more effectively. So it must be option 3, but let's just double check. The overall profitability of JCD Limited is better than the competitor. Although the gross profit percentage is slightly higher for the competitor, JCD Limited may have lower operating costs and use its working capital more efficiently. Well, we can see from here that JCD Limited has a lower working capital. They have a lower operating profit. They have an increased operating profit percentage. It is just that gross profit percentage which is a bit lower. So it would be option 3. Moving down to the liquidity statements then. It says the liquidity of the competitor is better. This indicates that the company has a good short-term solvency. So let's have a look at the liquidity ratios. So the competitor is actually worse on both the current ratio and acid test. So it definitely wouldn't be that first option for liquidity. The second states the liquidity of JCD is better. Well, we know that's true. The current ratio indicates that the company has enough current assets to cover its current liabilities, which it does because it's over 1. It then says the quick ratio acid test is a better test of liquidity, which it is because it removes that inventory element. As it shows the immediate solvency of a company because inventories are less liquid. Absolutely, that would be spot on. Your correct option here. So option 2. Let's just discount the third one as well. The current ratio of both companies is a cause for concern and should be below 1:1. Well, you definitely don't want that. You want them both above 1:1. So it definitely wouldn't be the third option. So the working capital then. It says the working capital cycle for the competitor is considerably better than JCD Limited. This will be due to the better inventory holding days. So let's scroll up. Well, the working capital is actually worse for the competitor. It's actually 10 days higher than JCD Limited, so it wouldn't be that as an option. It then says the working capital for JCD Limited is better than the competitor, which is true, we know that. This indicates that the amount of time between paying for materials and receiving the cash for goods sold is quicker than that of the competitor, which it more than likely does. This could be due to better inventory holding period, which we know that the inventory holding period is also better for JCD Limited. So that would be the correct option. Again, we will just discount the third option. The competitor has a better working capital cycle of 21 days. This indicates that the competitor is making better use of its resources and has a better turnaround of inventory. Again, we know that the working capital cycle of the competitor is worse, so that would definitely not be the correct option. It's the overall performance. So the top option, the overall performance of the competitor is better than JCD Limited. This indicates that JCD Limited should reduce its selling prices to gain more customers. Well, we know that's definitely not true. JCD Limited has a better return on capital employed. It has a better operating profit percentage. It has better current ratio and acid test. It's just the gross profit that is not quite as good. And everything else is better. So definitely wouldn't be the top option. The overall performance of the competitor is significantly worse than JCD Limited. The current ratio shows serious cause for concern and liquidity issues. Well, again, I wouldn't say that's true. I mean, the current ratio is over 1, the acid test is over 1. Overall, the ratios are not quite as good as JCD, but pretty close. So I don't think there's any cause for concerns. So it wouldn't be the second option. So let's hope the third option is correct. The overall performance of the competitor is slightly worse than JCD, which it is. Whilst this is good, there are limitations on the accuracy of the ratios, as we can only assume what has affected these. Absolutely true. JCD Limited should still attempt to improve its ratios and complete another comparison review in the near future. Well, that would be correct. Moving down then to task 6. Consider the following ratios and state whether the position has got better or worse from the previous year. So we've got 2013 on the right, 2014 on the left, and we need to determine for each of these whether they are better or worse. So the inventory holding days has gone up, which is a bad thing, so that will be worse. The current ratio has also gone up, which is a good thing, so that's better. Gearing has gone down, which is a good thing, so that will be better. Trade receivable days has gone up, which is bad. We want to get the money in as quickly as possible, so that would be a bad thing. Interest cover has gone up, so we can cover our interest a higher number of times with the profit we have available, so that's better. And return on capital employed has gone down, so we're getting less return on our capital employed, which is worse. Right then, for task 7, it says your manager has asked you to review the performance and efficiency of Virtuoso Technologies Limited using the following ratios. So this will be the last question that we cover today. So it says for each of the following ratios, identify whether the ratio in 2013 is better or worse in comparison to 2012. Explain what the ratio tells you about the performance and efficiency of the company. So we don't have any additional information here, so we are going to have to make some assumptions or generalizations. Let's flip that down. But we can certainly assess what's happened to the ratios. So, firstly, gross profit margin. So the gross profit margin has actually gone down from 2012 to 2013, which you know is worse. Okay, we now need to comment on these. So think about what goes into each ratio, and that will really help you to be able to comment. So for instance, gross profit, let's think about what goes into it and what it means. So effectively, the gross profit margin, start off simple, has fallen. So what does this actually mean? So, well, this means the company or business is making less profit on each unit sold. So why may that have happened? So that would be the next thing that I think about. What could have caused that? So this could have been caused by so it could be that we've had an increase in material. So our cost of sales may have gone up. So there's really two parts to make up this ratio. We've got sales and we've got cost of sales to make up the gross profit. So that's what would, affect the percentage result on this one. So what we would do is we'd say this could have been caused by an increase in cost of sales or a reduction in revenue. So in terms of a reduction in revenue, think of a reason why that might have been. So it could be that we, or the business, so this could be due to the business decreasing selling prices to sell more units. Okay, we are having to be hypothetical on these because we've only got very limited information, but that's absolutely fine. We next move on to the operating profit margin. So let's have a look at the operating profit margin. And we can see that it's actually gone from 9.8% to 11.8%. So it has improved. So it has got better. So think about what could have caused this then. What does it show and what could have caused it? So operating profit margin has increased and is therefore better. So don't forget, at this point we've got the gross profit margin going down, but operating profit margin going up. So that is obviously an interesting point because usually you would expect them either to both go up or both go down. So what that shows us, what this shows us is that the business has or is improving its expense management. And using resources more efficiently. This could be down to a reduction in operating expenses. or an increase in sales revenue. Okay, good stuff. Okay, right, next one on the list is jump back up, is the trade receivables collection period. So trade receivables days we can see has actually gone up from 36 to 42, which is a bad thing. So it's actually got worse. So let's think again, what does this show? What could it have been caused by? So trade receivables collection period has got worse across the year. This could mean customers are taking longer to pay. So why might that be? So one of the usual reasons why that may be, it's just that we've maybe given too generous credit terms, or that credit control procedures have actually dropped in standard. So possible reasons for this. Is that the business is offering too longer credit terms. Another possible reason is that credit control systems have reduced in standard. Excellent. So that explains, or possibly explains, the trade receivables collection period. Now the last one on the list is the inventory holding period. So again, let's go up. So the inventory period, holding period, has gone from 62 days to 88 days. Again, that is a bad thing. We want that to be as low as possible, really. So that would be worse. So again, let's just start off with the obvious. So inventory holding period for the business has gotten worse. So what does that actually mean? Well, what that means is the business is taking longer to turn its inventory into cash. So why might that happen? Or what are the implications of that? So that could happen if you've got old stock, for instance. So this could happen when the business has outdated stock. This could cause unnecessary or higher storage costs than planned. So why might that be actually the case? So why might we have sold less? Well, one reason, which we could technically link back to the increased operating profit margin, would be that we've somehow reduced marketing and therefore we're selling less, we're not moving as much stock. So to try and tie this together, we could say the reason for this is reduced marketing and therefore less sales this would match up with the improved operating profit margin. Fantastic. Okay, and that covers our last task. So, I can see that no one's asked any questions as we work through this, but obviously if you do have any, feel free to put in any questions now. No problem. Well, thank you for attending the session. Remember, if you have any questions afterwards, you're always welcome to email me. But other than that, again, thank you for attending, and I will see you in the next session. This is the last session on drafting and interpreting financial statements. So we will be moving on to AMAC, which is our management accounting unit next. But thank you for all those who've attended each session each week or those who've watched them back afterwards. I know a lot of people do. So thank you again, and I will see you for the new unit.
Hi there, and thank you for watching the video. If you're new here and passionate about everything accounting, then don't forget to subscribe and give us a follow. We're proud to deliver the best standard of support to our students. We have bespoke study materials, exclusive AAT unit videos, award-winning tutors, and so much more. Make sure to follow us on our social platforms to stay up to date with what we're working on. Thank you.